friends, and welcome back to the Behaviour Pod. You are joining me with the wonderful, gorgeous, amazing Emma DPK. She is our TBB expert with all things positive touch. She is a reflexologist. Hold on, I've got to get this right. A reflexologist. She specializes in Indian head massage. I highly recommend all of her services, by the way. She's amazing. And yeah, we are talking about the impact that our positive touch has on children, of course, when it comes to behavior, because this is your one-stop shop, my friends, for all things behavior. So shall we dive in with another question? Emma, are you
Let's
ready?
do it.
Let's
Yes.
go. Okay, so we have been thinking about what we can do in the moment and ahead of time when it comes to behavior, of course, with a 360 approach in mind. And this question was a really interesting one, actually, because it's probably something that I hadn't even thought about. And the question was, is reflexology or positive touch, is it still useful, or does it still have the desired impact, if you like, when the children are not aware that you are doing it, or like that there is an intention behind it? So for example, I know we spoke about, putting the phone down and replacing it with your child's foot and things like that, which I love. But the idea that if your child doesn't know what you're actually doing, does it still work?
Yes, very good question. Is it still effective? The short answer is yes, it definitely is,
Oh,
because you're still going to be doing the touch therapy. You're going to be stimulating their bodies to release oxytocin. You're going to be releasing oxytocin yourself. You are still massaging their nervous system when you're pressing on the key points on their feet or their hands. So you will be stimulating that nervous system to almost reboot the body. You're also going to be stimulating blood flow around the body, and we want to make sure the blood is flowing, because that's when all of the good things get taken to all the organs, so they're functioning at their optimum. The one thing that you won't necessarily feel the full benefit from is that kind of full relaxation, really
yeah.
getting into that deep state of relaxation, because your mind is being distracted, because you're still engaging part of your brain. You're not fully immersed in the moment. When I have clients that come for, adults that come for a treatment and they're talking away at me, I'm just like, if you want to talk, that's great. But actually, I prefer you to stop talking and go to, like, if you go to sleep,
Just
ultimate
enjoy it.
compliment. No, but it feels rude, but I'm trying to help them get the maximum
Yeah.
benefit. Because if they get into that real deep state of relaxation, that is when your parasympathetic nervous system really kicks in, and you get into that rest and digest, and you effectively, you recharge the batteries. That's when you're fully recharging. It's when you're really in that deep relaxation. But that's not always possible, especially children. They're like magpies, aren't they? It's just like, oh, shiny thing over there. It's so hard for them to focus on one thing for a long period of time, which is why what you do is brilliant, introducing movement. They're not made to sit there and focus. Their brains don't work like that. So it could be hard to get them to sit and just do nothing and let you press the pressure points on their hand and do some form of touch therapy. So therefore, if they do have that distraction, at least they are sitting still and you can get those key points. So I'd say it is still beneficial. You are still gonna reap the rewards from it, but you're going to get into that deeper level if you're just completely in that moment. Any kind of mindful practice, you're
Yeah.
really going to help thicken that prefrontal cortex, aren't you? So it's yeah, that was a very long-winded to say yes, still benefit.
Yeah, but we want the long-winded. We want the bits behind it. That's what we're here for, Emma. And I think
True.
it is, and I really love the idea that it's just a different or a varied experience of it. When I was toying with touch within the classroom setting. So for educators listening to this, if you've been in the education sector for a while, you will have probably gone through the wheel, if you like, of education. And they had a huge push on positive touch in the classroom a while back. And one of the head teachers I worked for at the time, this was fairly early on in my career actually, brought in the idea of back massage. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. The children would come in after break or after lunch. We'd all sit in a circle. I used to kind of sometimes do it with circle time and bring everything into that. But we'd sit in a circle, always sit in, pairs and take turns. But the idea was that they would just rub each other's back, and we would do like I kind of made up little rhymes and things like that, and we'd do different patterns. Sometimes we actually used, I used to get them to draw a letter or a number on each other's back as well, and
Bit of
get them to
phonics in
kind
there
of,
as
yeah,
well. Love it.
of
Yeah.
course, all about bringing in the learning wherever possible, cram it all into that day, educators.
Love it.
But it was really great because the children loved it. It gave them that connection. It gave them that also that, I guess, that building of trust with each other, because we'd all have different partners at different times. If we were doing it in pairs, we'd, if we were sitting in a circle, we'd never be in the same pattern of people. So it was really nice because the children got to trust each other, that they would be kind while doing it, and they got to understand how that felt. And it was such a lovely collaborative and connection building activity. And then, I think that sometimes we come away from touch because of safeguarding and things like that, and just there's been a lot around. I know there was some stages in my career where we were told that we had to put our hands in the air if a child came to hug us, and all those sorts of things, and different schools had different approaches. I think as we've come around again, I think we are knowing more about the importance of touch, and we think about this so heavily with babies and skin on skin contact and all of that lovely stuff when we're supporting those really early years. But actually, as you get older with your year groups in school, or as a parent out of school, those moments are still so important, aren't they? And I
One of
think
our key senses. We need to stimulate our key sense, don't we? So
absolutely. And I think wherever you can bring it in, it's so beneficial. But I love the idea as well that if they're not, even if they're not completely present in what you're doing, even if they're not completely focused on what the experience is and the benefits of it, I always think, telling children about what you're doing, showing them, going through that experience with them is so powerful. But even if you are, as you said, using a distraction to support them, I think the contact is still so crucial, and not just for them but for you as well, particularly thinking about parents here, because we have a mixture of parents and educators and providers listening to this podcast. And I think that as a parent, sometimes we forget that the older ones, sometimes they just need to be held. Sometimes they just need you to tickle their feet, or like whatever it is, because that's such a connection building exercise, isn't it?
you're breaking through. So if they're getting themselves worked up into a bit of an emotional spiral, by doing a physical disruption to that emotional spiral,
Yeah.
you're going to help engage a different part of the brain that helps them stop going down that spiral and actually then be in the present moment by tickling them, by, I get my daughter to jump up and down because it then releases endorphins, and then it stimulates a different part of her nervous system. Like, it's so important to interrupt. So you want them to feel those feelings. I'm not trying to suppress those feelings, but I don't want those feelings to be all consuming. So therefore, by engaging that physiological side, you're going to help them provide that rational part of that brain. You want this prefrontal cortex to engage. You don't want the amygdala to drive us. I talk about, all of the emotions are allowed on the bus, but don't let them in the driving seat. You're the driver of the bus. Do not let them in that driving seat. They're welcome. Come on, get off when you want. You're welcome, but do not drive the bus.
I love
And
that.
it's something that, I grapple with my own 8-year-old on a daily basis. But yeah, just any kind of interruption, or even just go, if she's getting herself worked up, and she came out of school yesterday and I could tell something was off, something was amiss. And so I gave her the opportunity to talk. She wasn't ready to talk. So I just gave her a cuddle. I was like, Mummy really wants a cuddle. I've had quite a tough day. Can I just have a cuddle? And I held her. And when you hold someone past that point of when they feel a bit uncomfortable,
Yes.
they're trying to get away from the hug, but you're like, no, I'm holding on.
I'm not finished yet.
Get past that point. I can't remember the exact how many seconds it is. I'll look it up and let you know. We can put it in the notes.
We'll put it in the show notes.
There is a point where you then start to co-regulate your nervous systems, and you can actually feel both your nervous systems, that fizzing, it almost like it just drops, and you both just almost become one. Like it's like the new craze at the moment of earthing, you know, taking your shoes off and going and standing out the grass, and your neighbours thinking you're looking a bit mad because you're brushing your teeth on the grass.
My
But
gosh,
you
I saw that on something. Well, I think it might have been Anna.
Anna
It was Anna
Martha,
Martha's,
yeah,
yeah, on her
yeah,
Instagram yesterday
did
or
it on it, yeah,
whatever
it
it
was
was. And I
yesterday.
was like, oh my gosh, I literally have been doing that. Like, obviously not when it's been raining, but I really started to do that last year in the summer, is just go and stand outside
It's
on
the same
the
thing.
grass with bare
You're
feet.
exactly, so doing that, you're getting that connective energy from the earth. You know, we are full of energy, whether people think holistic or actual your nervous energy. You have nerves that are neurons,
Yes.
energy keeping us functioning,
Mm.
keeping my hands moving how they're doing very energetically now. You know, that is all through energy. So by going out and putting your feet on the grass, you are getting that connective energy with the earth, which is going to make you feel grounded and
I
stabilized.
did not realize it was called earthing.
Yeah,
There you
exactly the
go.
same
Got a
thing.
name.
Yeah, exactly the same thing as connecting with a human. You know, having that moment connection, you're co-regulating your nervous systems, you're transferring the energy, and it just brings it down.
It does. I love that. I love that. And I think, we talk about physiology first all the time. If you're a member of the Behaviour Bank, then you will definitely know this already because it's everywhere in the bank. If you're not, then knock, knock. Hi there. Come on in. Get yourself an account. But we talk about the fact that your physiology shifts first. If you can shift it first, it makes such an impact on your belief and your communication and all of the other things. And I think, if you can prioritize what you do physically and then shifting that physiology, as you said, it's not about moving or like preventing any emotion. We want all the vibrations in our body. We want to experience all of them. It's like, the emotional menu that we need. But we also, as you said, we need to be fueling ourselves with the right energies at the right time, the right emotions at the right time. And that point of like co-regulation is so tangible, isn't it? You can literally feel your body and their body kind of shift, and it sounds this sounds really lame, guys, I know, but it's magic. Like, it really
Well,
is. It's like our human superpower, guys, is the
Mhm.
ability to do that with each other. And you can just see it with our children, can't you? I often with my toddler would just kind of for me and him, but you can see them, do the shuddering, to catch up with you. And it's so wonderful because you can be like, I did that. if you allow yourself to notice it, as a parent, and it feels so great to be able to take them through that journey. So I love that. We have been playing oh, I'm losing my voice. We have been playing this or that throughout these episodes, this mini short course. And the idea of this one was phone or feet, and I think we know the answer. I think we might
Ah,
have given it away.
every time, every time. I know, yeah, I know well, these phones are created to make them addictive. Like, we are all addicted to some degree to our phones, but I know there's a big movement at the moment to stop these phones becoming part of our children's lives. And I hope that the team behind that are successful, because yeah, we've become addicted, but let's try and prevent our children from becoming addicted too, and let's really push them forward to that natural, get them out, no shoes on, get them out on the grass, doing the earthing in the morning, and have those moments of connection. It's
And
so
even at night, it's so powerful before bed, just to kind of like bring them down from the stresses of the day, because there's so much, we live in such an input driven society, and our brains are so overwhelmed a lot of the time, which is one of the reasons that this movement is there, is to try and, I guess, prevent the technology from knocking out all the other areas of the life that we lead, because technology is so powerful and it's so important, and we need to be we're kind of digressing here a little bit, but we do need to be making sure that we are mindful that we're upskilling our children in understanding this. I am always talking to my son about YouTube, or the fact he's recently learned that PGs are for parents to watch first. So when he goes on to one of the many channels that we all have nowadays, he's like, oh, that's a U and that's a PG. But I keep saying to him, yes, but not every U is for you, because I still don't agree with half
Yeah.
of what's in those films for his age group. And I'm like, oh my goodness, no, you're not watching that. And there's the saying, this is definitely a Tony Robbins saying, but the fact that you need to stand guard to the door of your mind.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to teach him that from such an early age, because we don't upskill our children before letting them loose in the world of technology, so that they're not standing guard. They're letting all of these things help form their little developing brains. And this could be a whole kind of discussion on its own. So apologies, we've kind of come away, but it's so important. So if you are thinking about technology, and we will talk more about this at some point in one of the episodes, but really think about what is it putting into their mind, and could they be doing something else instead, like writing on your back, or having you write on theirs, moving your fingers around your hand, and doing all the lovely positive touch that we've been talking about. Because my goodness, this technology business, it's not going anywhere. It's here to
Part of
stay.
life, but it's you're right. It's all about those creating those parameters, creating those boundaries, and us
Yeah,
not forgetting that there is an incredible world out there.
there is beyond
So
the
much
screen.
exactly, like outside, get outside, fresh air. Like my two-year-old, my 4-year-old was yeah, she made a little friendly snail last night. Like
Nice.
for me, that they are the moments that she'll remember, not watching an episode of whatever program.
That all blur together.
Anyway, we digress.
We digress. Well, I loved getting into this question, because, as I said, it's something that I hadn't even really thought about. So thank you to our TBB member for sharing this question. It was an awesome question. And yes, definitely the feet over the phone when it comes to supporting your children with a bit of positive touch, particularly in the evening, I find is always a good time. Thank you, Emma, for joining us for another episode in this mini series. If you have not already, then you can head over to the Behaviour Bank, where you will find the wonderful Emma and all of her pearls of wisdom in the touch section, or the physiology section within the bank. If you're wondering what on earth we are talking about, we are talking about the only bank in the world that supports behavior from a 360 approach, my friends. You can come on in, create an account where you save yourself time, save yourself energy, and your children get to profit in the future. And that is what we're all about. So if you haven't checked it out, then please do. We look forward to catching up with you all in the next episode. Thanks so much, Emma. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.